Nabil, welcome. We're happy to have you here at the summit and look forward to some insightful discussions with you on EN and your wholesale program and things that are going on that's new at EN there.
Thanks, Jeff, for having me. Wow, a little bit loud here today, but thanks for having me, Jeff. Thanks for Tony and the entire Telecom Review crew here to have me here on stage. And good morning to everyone.
Good. Nabil, I'll just get right into it. You guys, EN, has had a lot of activity in the last year.
Oh, yeah.
You've increased your stakes in Vodafone. You have entered Central and East Europe by buying the majority stake in PPF. You had other network partnering programs that's going on there. And can you tell us more about how wholesale is contributing to the success of EN?
Absolutely, a lot of activities happening. That happened this year. You mentioned Vodafone. As you know, we are now the single largest shareholder of the Vodafone Group. A lot of activities happening. You know that we have today 16 operations across Asia, Middle East, and Africa, serving 160 million mobile subscribers. If you look at Vodafone Group, the combined footprint, it's 37 markets. It's 37 countries serving 550 million mobile subscribers combined. So I think there's a lot of opportunities also from a carrier and wholesale perspective, whereby we develop the synergies on wholesale, on the international voice activities, on the international roaming, when we start negotiating bulk with all our partners, but also potentially having joint investments on data and connectivity, connecting, let's say, Western Europe to Middle East and Asia through, let's say, the combined footprint when it comes to connectivity. So a lot of activities. You mentioned PPF, indeed.
Yes.
We acquired the majority stake in PPF. We're still waiting regulatory approvals in the various jurisdictions, but hopefully by Q1 we'll be closing this transaction through their wholesale arm called Setin. We hope that the synergies will be also developed within the Eastern European part of Europe, and that will be also potentially a good link, bridge connecting Europe to the Middle East and Asia. You also mentioned EN Network Partnership Program. It's a very, very interesting program whereby we bring, let's say, the strength of the EN group on multiple layers. Procurement, CVM, enterprise solutions, but also on carrier and wholesale. And as you probably heard, we closed Tunisia Telecom as the first partner early this year, whereby we're providing procurement, CVM, and wholesale solutions to the company. And the target is mainly small, medium, or independent operators, where they are competing massively with the big giants. And that's where EN Solutions is coming into play and creating more value to their shareholders. We also closed Azercell in Azerbaijan earlier this year. We also announced Sudatel Group as a new partner doing GITEX, and more to come. And you will hear some interesting news in the next few weeks and months.
That's good, exciting news there. It really is. In the wholesale business, an overwhelming drive is always going to be to increase your margins, things like that. But can you tell us more about the key trends in the wholesale industry that are driving what you're doing?
Yesterday, I was hearing some of the activities. Everybody is talking about AI, talking about IoT, 5G. We are all obviously working also from a wholesale perspective with the latest technologies, and how this could potentially improve our profitability and obviously our top line. But from a carrier and wholesale point of view, we are also a lot working around the NAS, Network as a Service, all this automation on the connectivity side of the business. It's something that is very, very interesting for us, and that will create this differentiation in the market. So we're also investing in submarine cables. Obviously, you know that there is a lot of activities around subsea systems, how to bring more capacity in the UAE, how to bring more capacity in the region. And usually the UAE is always a bridge between connecting Europe and Asia. So, right. And we will continue to be the key driver in the region on that.
Good. And we're in a hyper-competitive market. We really are. How is your carrier division differentiating itself from a lot of these other people that are in the same business? Are there some unique values that you're offering, things like that?
It's a very interesting question. You know, I always put our people in the forefront. This business is about people. It's having the right people at the right place. And I think we have a fantastic team that is really creating this differentiation in the market, in our wholesale industry. And we'll continue to invest and bring young talents that will continue to fuel, let's say, this growth. So definitely people is something. We are also having and going through a lot of consolidations that is happening in our business. You know, there is a lot of pressure on the international voice business. There's a lot of pressure on the pricing, on data and connectivity, despite the fact that obviously there is a huge growth and big demand from the hyperscalers. So we're creating this kind of differentiation by bringing also new technologies, new solutions, let's say, in our portfolio.
Good. You know, the buzzword here in Dubai seems to be COP. What's happening there? But I think in the history of COP, we've never seen any talks about sustainable submarine cables. But we're now going to see it in COP28, where E&D Wholesale is hosting a fireside chat with a university in the U.S. about the sustainability of deployment, the backbone and infrastructure that enables internet around the world. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty different and pretty exciting.
It's very exciting because obviously, you know, during the COP28 right now, yesterday our group CEO Hatem talked a lot about sustainability and ESG. At the expo site, a lot of debates around sustainability. And we were thinking a couple of weeks ago to see how we could potentially also having an impact from a wholesale perspective in the wholesale industry on sustainability. And then came up this topic of submarine cable, because everybody's talking about connectivity, how to bring more capacity in the region and so on. And the subsea system is an interesting industry also, and how to bring, let's say, this greener energy around the subsea, let's say, ecosystem. New initiatives that obviously we are discussing, and I'm very happy because it's something that is really close to our heart right now here in the UAE, being the host for this COP28. And from a telecommunication provider, and we are providing all these services, I think it's important for us to be in the front of this initiative. We were thinking back in the days, how can we make this whole ecosystem greener? You know that today, laying a cable, you have to go, sending those ships, burning fuels, and it's not that really green. So why not thinking of having all those drones doing all those marine surveys, for example?
Sure.
That it will bring this greener, let's say, energy into play. Cable landing stations. We have a few cable landing stations here in the UAE, in the region, around the globe. How we can make those cable landing stations by putting maybe a solar panel on the top of those cable landing stations. Few other initiatives potentially are in the cable itself. How can we use recycled material for those cables? Then also another potential initiative is why not extending the life cycle of a cable? Everyone knows that a life cycle of a cable is around 15 years or so. Why not by changing, let's say, the equipments and bringing those recycled equipments into play, greener equipments into play, and extend potentially the life cycle of a cable by a couple of years. So all those initiatives are in discussion right now, and we are very proud to work with the University of Berkeley, and we have a couple of, let's say, our young talents joining forces, let's say, with that university to talk about how to make those submarine cable system greener.
Well, good. I mean, I think it's an admirable project to get involved with, get people with you on that project and see what can happen. Good for you.
Yeah.
You know, E&D is ending this year on a very high note. You've had a lot of good achievements, things like that. What are you seeing for 2024 for E&D Wholesale?
I mean, you will hear a lot of interesting news, obviously, in 2024. From a Carrier Wholesale perspective, we'll be focused a lot on, first, our OpCos and our group. Yeah. I think the Vodafone discussion that we're having on the synergies will accelerate the pace on that. The PPF transaction, hopefully it will be closed. We'll see how we can synergize more and more in 2024. And obviously the Network Partnership Program, as we talked earlier, we'll develop, let's say, we'll bring on board more partners, and we'll develop, let's say, all the wholesale solutions and services with our new partners. More investments.
Right.
I have a huge pressure from the board to invest more in subsea cable, bring, let's say, infrastructure connectivity more into the region, in the UAE, working more with our opcos in bringing this diversification in the connectivity and linking, obviously, Asia to Europe through diverse routes. So it's an initiative that we will be working a lot. I discussed also earlier that, obviously, we will be having there will be a lot of consolidation happening, so we'll see how we can work more with new partners. I'm a strong believer of partnerships, and I think E&D Group is solid for that. And from a Carrier point of view, with all the pressure that we are having, we need to partner and partner more, and we'll be continuing to partnering with regional players, but also global players.
Good, good. Nabil, you mentioned just a while ago about people. And how you want to take care of the people involved, things like that. How do you see the wholesale market and what the wholesale group at EN is doing affecting people around us, the people in your company, the customer base, things like that? I know that's a pretty broad question, but
it's a broad question, but it's a very interesting question because at the end of the day, all what we are doing as a mobile operator or as a carrier is serving our people, serving our customers. And from a wholesale point of view, we are the enabler for all those retail propositions. A typical example in the UAE, where you have those freedom plans, calling more than 100 countries freely, this is based on wholesale deals that my team and our team is negotiating with all the carriers around the globe. Right. So this is having a clear impact, connecting people, connecting the diaspora, making sure that from a roaming point of view, when you land in London, you have a seamless connectivity using 5G connectivity. So all this initiative is impacting our people at the end of the day. We talked about connectivity and hyperscalers and all the investments that we are doing in subsea cables. This is also about people. When you browse your Facebook account or your Instagram or TikTok, it's making sure that you have the right customer experience, reducing the latency by bringing, let's say, all those hyperscalers here in the region closer to their subscribers as well. And this is all wholesale, let's say, activities. So we are impacting, let's say, people's life, and we will continue to do more moving forward, that's for sure.
Well, good. I appreciate your time today, first of all, but you had a lot of great insight that I hope that the audience appreciated, and it gives people a better insight of E&D and the wholesale group there. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeff, for having me.
Thanks, everybody.